Hi, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Mismatch. So, one thing that I've learned both personally and I would say like through this podcast is that most of us don't actually struggle with love because we're incapable of it, but we struggle because we're never taught how to stay connected to ourselves, especially when things get hard. We learn how to attract, perform, and fix, but not necessarily how to feel safe inside our own bodies and emotions. And that's where real intimacy actually begins. And I think where a lot of people struggle with these days. My guest today has built her life's work around that exact truth. Allana Pratt is an intimacy expert, relationship coach, author of 6 books. She hosts the edgy podcast Intimate Conversation Season 14, Dark Tonight, Divine Light, where listeners learn about intimacy and that it really is an inside job. Now, she's an Ivy League grad, a certified master coach. She's interviewed a ton of celebs, has done many interviews. She helps people really stop self-abandoning and heal heartbreak and to really create relationships that are rooted in self-trust rather than fear. But what I really appreciate most about Allana's work is that she doesn't frame love, as something to chase, but something that naturally deepens when we ourselves become whole. So let's get into it. Allana, it's so good to see you here and have you here with me.
Oh my God, and a fellow Canadian to boot. Like this.
I know. I'm very excited to have you because I know you are a world traveler. You work everywhere.
I do. I've lived overseas. I've lived in Japan. I went to school in New York. I now live in the States, and my clients are everywhere and I serve them. But really, this is what we're talking about today. Home is in the heart. And what I learned personally was that I had a PhD in people pleasing. Like I was not in my heart. I was 3 steps ahead, anything to do to get you to like me and not hurt me, not reject me again, right? I didn't know how to be with my own aloneness. Whenever I would slow down and feel my feelings, I felt insecure. Well, let's get a degree from an Ivy League school or I felt inadequate. So I would try to perform and be good enough. And what I realized is that's a losing battle. And so one of the first keys is to, instead of looking on the outside for love, approval, all the rest of it, start looking inside and giving that love, giving that approval, and start to develop the capacity to literally love your wobbly parts, even if it's really your wobbly bum, but your insecure parts as much as you love your confident parts. Because if you can do that, you can be so safe for others to be around.
And so, I mean, you make it sound so easy, and
No.
it's not easy. So, like, where do we start? How do you really start looking inwards in that way? Because I have honestly struggled with that my entire life. I mean, I talk about this in therapy. Is like I constantly feel not good enough, and in relationships, it's that filters into that, and that affects things. And especially when relationships don't work out, then that even heightens even further, right?
Correct. And then eventually we give up on love, right?
Yeah.
Or
we can't do that.
Not on this show.
No.
No. So the presupposition to what I said, and no, it's not easy in the slightest, is that you have to learn how to feel. But how many of us, when we were young, were told, stop crying or be heard? Don't be seen, not heard. So we were taught that our emotions were wrong and bad, and no one actually showed us how to feel a feeling all the way to what I call integration. So what I thought when I first started this was that I needed to get rid of the fear and get rid of the anger and get rid of the shame. Like that was bad, so I could be happy, which was good. But that led to perfectionism.
Yes, I can relate.
And a deepening of self-hatred and self-loathing and self-criticism. So that was not the way. The way was, and it was this, I won't tell you the whole story, but it was this incredible moment of, I'm going to call it a direct experience, where I was sitting down and I was writing all these, I'll never get a man. I'll never make my millions. I'll never get enough Facebook followers. And then it got a little less shallow and it got, I might die alone. Oh my God. Like it got really real.
My greatest fear, honestly.
Okay, there we go. So, and then I put on either side of that statement, even though I may die alone, I love and accept myself. Even though I am single at 56, I'm dating, but I'm not married. At 56, I love and accept myself. And so I started to read these statements with a different perspective. Like I could be with my fear and I could be courageous. I didn't have to get rid of my fear. I could embrace my fear. And then I had this epiphany. I'm like, what if there's a little Allana inside? Maybe there's 20 of them. And this one's, insecure, and this one's mad, and this one's a hot mess. What if I didn't try to fix them or change them? I mean, I don't like to be fixed or changed. Why am I doing this to myself? Why don't I say, hey, even if you're insecure for the rest of our life, I love and accept you. Even if you are afraid of exposing your true desires sexually, sensually, your dreams, they might feel dorky. I love and accept you. And something started to happen on the inside, which I'm going to call sitting in the fire. I started to feel the feeling of insecurity without trying to fix it. I didn't try to control it. I didn't try to make it go away. I just literally burned like a phoenix rising out of the flame. I felt the feeling and something miraculous happened. It changed. It changed all on its own. My body had a wisdom, which I now know is our autonomic nervous system, going from various levels of trauma into still point. That's actually what's happening to our body scientifically. But if you feel a feeling long enough without trying to control it, it will shift and change. Maybe not from like total rage into like blissful joy in one fell swoop, but you'll move through these feelings of like, maybe first it's hopeless. Why even try? Just be with it. Just be with it. Don't try to fix it. And then maybe something's going to erupt, some rage that you need to feel. Feel that. And then it'll turn into something like relief or compassion. And then all of a sudden it'll turn into what I call home or still point. And I swear, cannot prove this, but I think something like your soul finally gets in your body. Wisdom finally gets in your body. Because my clients, they start talking like Buddha. I mean, they have wisdom of why you dated that guy, why that guy broke up with you, why you until you integrate the emotion like lead into gold, until you become an alchemist, these emotions, they just stay stuffed down in your body. But if you let them run all the way back home, it's like God's talking to you. It's like the angels are talking to you. You understand why it happened for you, not against you. And then you embody this capacity. Now I have the capacity to speak up. Now I have the capacity to let go. Now I have the capacity to be me. And then you're free. So that's what I do.
Isn't it amazing? It's the most liberating feeling. And I honestly can say, like, I am now on the other side of that, but having gone all through the other stuff that was like scary and worrisome. But it's so nice to be on the other side. And I often tell people, it's perspective and time that like help, heal you and get you back to feeling like you again. But I want to talk about like in a relationship because, and I feel like specifically, intimacy is very hard because it's not necessarily taught and people don't take initiative to learn that about themselves. Do you see this like in dating now, even that people like really struggle with this?
Yeah. Well, I would add what you said, which is wise, perspective and time, but also intentionality. You've got to do the work. You've got to
try.
Support. You've got to grow. And so what I find is that they don't have a relationship with their truth, their values, because they can't get in there because of these emotions that they don't know how to feel. And they'll numb out or go on social media, have a glass of wine, go on porn, whatever they do. Rather, no one's taught them how to get in there to discover what their deal breakers are, to discover what their truths are. And when they get that little bit of a niggle in their stomach that, this doesn't feel right, this is off, they're so used to shoving down any signs and signals from the body that they go into the mind and they try to rationalize or make excuses or settle when all that's really required, it's simple but not easy, is slowing down with a facilitator who is the banks of the river so you can be the river. I got you. I'm not going anywhere. Let's feel it all. Let's follow and track it through the body. And as they feel their fears, angers, shame, insecurities, as they feel through that, and when you get back to the 0 point, as I said, that's where the truth lives. That's where, you know what? They weren't a good match. I knew it from the beginning. I just didn't want to be alone. I noticed that their eyes would wander a lot, even on the first date to other people in the room. That really felt disrespectful. I didn't feel safe, but I didn't listen to that. I tried to be good enough and perform and be sexier. I tried to get them because if they like me, then I'm enough. Like they start to go, oh, that's what I've actually been doing. And then again, back to little you, we find that part of us that as a little kid had every right to feel that way. As an adult, we make that little kid wrong that's inside of us. I should be confident now. I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 50s. No, but there's a part of you that mommy never paid attention or daddy yelled at you or whatever happened. And that little one inside, there's an incomplete loop. We call it imago theory, where you're attracted to the incomplete things you never got from your parents. Like if you were quote unquote abandoned as a parent, you're going to be so attracted to that person that never texts you back.
So
right?
interesting.
Yeah. But the gift is they're there to teach you. Those kind of relationships are there to be your master spiritual teacher, to flush up your unhealed wounds so you can take ownership, take responsibility. That's the intentionality piece I was speaking of. Do your work so that you're whole. Nobody's perfect. Never going to be perfect, but we can be whole and take ownership. And then that's a vibration. That's science. We know that. You will attract somebody of that like vibration. So in couples, when two people are willing to grow, we can go from a transactional relationship where you're the source of my safety, you're the source of my money, you're the source of my worth, to a whole mate relationship where each people are whole and they awaken the best in one another and they have gratitude for one another and they have each other's back.
I was just going to ask that. Like, I mean, I've heard this before of someone being like, I need to, you hear it. I need to work on me before I can be in this relationship. Like, can you work on you and be in a relationship? Or do you think like absolutely not, like people are right in saying that?
Well,
I call BS when people say that.
It can be
But tell me if I'm being harsh.
No, you're not being harsh, because I think you're probably intuitively accurate between the ones that are actually using it as an excuse and a justification not to risk getting hurt again. So they don't have to ever be vulnerable, and that's their safe, cop out. And then there's also the ones that just got through a divorce and they don't need to be dating 5 minutes later. They actually probably do need to heal from the divorce and do some inner work. So it's like, yes, and. So yes, I think we all, for the rest of our life until they kick dirt in our face and we die, ought to be learning and growing and exploring and having adventures and cleaning up our messes and making up for the damage done and doing our work. And there are seasons. There are seasons to be alone and maybe just have a women's group or a men's group and just like take a diet off of men.
Yeah.
No man diet for 6 months. I think that can be very healthy if your MO is that you can't be alone. Because if you can't be alone, you're never going to make a true choice in alignment with your values because you're going to be too scared and you're going to settle and let yourself be manipulated. So that's a good reason, if you're a man or a woman, to take a good 6-month sabbatical, get with a coach, do your deep inner work, and heal. But then that's only so far that you can heal in a therapy session or a counseling session or a plant medicine session or whatever your modality is. The next level of life is on the court in relationship. And don't run for the door and don't blame and sit in the fire.
Yeah. So sitting in that, how do you then approach it differently? Like I'm kind of sitting in that boat right now. And so I selfishly ask this question of like, okay, I've learned all these lessons. I know who I am, but now I'm terrified to walk into something new and like be this version of me because maybe it's too much, quote unquote.
It's definitely too much. I'll tell you a funny little story. I love that about you. So I too am back in the dating world. And it was only about 5-6 weeks into it. First, it was like, you're a lot with a little twinkle in his eye. And then one night he was like, you're too much. And I took a beat. I said, that's absolutely okay. I've worked really hard to be too much and to be fully expressed and to be unapologetic and to love myself. Even if you reject me, I won't reject me. So if I'm too much, there's the door. Thank you for the last 5 or 6 weeks. And he goes, seriously? I go, seriously. And he left.
I love that.
Like, oh my God, I actually stood up for myself. And then I sent a very nice gratitude text the next day of all that I'd learned and all that I'd grown. And I wished him all the best on his relationship journey. A couple of days later, he texted back and he goes, you know what? You intimidate me. And I projected my intimidation onto you and made you wrong. I'm sorry. Could I see you again?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, right? So again, nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. He was intimidated. I'm allowed to be intimidated. Everybody's allowed to be intimidated. We're allowed to show our insecure, wobbly selves. But do we lean in, apologize, own it, make up for the damage done, and grow? Just saying sorry is not enough. You've got to say sorry,
Right.
and I'm going to work on this.
There needs to be action
And
behind it.
totally, right? So this is part of navigating new relationships. It's going to be messy from time to time. You're going to
Mhm.
have to speak up. You're going to have to give grace, and you're going to have to ask the same from them of you when you get triggered. And then you own it. Like, who's going to apologize first? Be
Mhm.
willing to go first. Always being willing to go first. There's nothing to lose by owning and growing up, because you can sleep at night. You have total integrity with who you are. You're living
Right.
fully, loving fully, going for it fully. And then you learn how to repair ruptures. And most people never repair a rupture fully. There's always that elephant in the living room, and they're always a little bit contracted, and then they do the passive aggressive, right? But if you actually heal a rupture all the way, you're stronger in yourself and in your relationship. There's more trust, more respect, more freedom. Yeah. So get on the
It's
court.
it's pretty amazing. The heart's truly an amazing thing, that's for
It's
sure.
resilient. It's so resilient.
Yeah.
And you make a good point. Our heart is, there's a field that our heart puts out. This is heart math. That's
Yeah.
5,000 times greater than the mind. So here we are trying to figure it out and not get hurt and all the thinking. Your heart actually knows if somebody is honoring and safe or not. So be brave, be vulnerable, open it, and then trust what you feel.
Absolutely. One of the things that I love that you talk about as well is the concept of self-abandonment in a relationship, because I think so many of us get caught up. And again, like I've been told, like, Nicole, you're a chameleon in
Mm,
relationships, because I really dated all sorts of people. And I mean, it's a compliment, but also like a real problem, because I get along with people that then I forget, who I really am and what my boundaries are and what I really want, until it like blows up, so to speak, like in my face.
yeah, yeah. I'm your older sister, basically.
I felt it the moment we connected,
Yeah.
okay, Alana?
Yeah. So, two divorces, the only one in common, me, because I was a chameleon into this one, then a chameleon into that
Really?
one. Oh, yeah. Well, when your presupposition is, what do I need to do so you don't hurt me? Right? If that's the subconscious wounding that's running the show, which is what mine was, I'll be whoever you want me to be as long as you don't hurt me. Right?
Mm,
And so once I took ownership of that, realized that, started to heal that, then came the confidence to be, actually, I mean, I do like sushi, but for example, I don't like sushi. I'd much prefer Italian. Like, to tell the truth with little things of like
yeah.
how you like to eat, or that sexual practice actually doesn't work for me. This would work for
Hmm.
me. Or I actually am not interested in having more children, and you are. So you're amazing, but I'm going to set you free to find someone. Like, you start to have the confidence to not be that chameleon. I think it's really good to get along with people and create
Yeah.
harmony. That's lovely, but not to a fault. Not when it's against
Hmm.
your values, your truth, or as you said, you lose yourself to seek all of that safety, that approval from the outside in. So we don't want to abandon ourselves. We want to stay aligned. A really good practice I give some of my clients: you're on a date, halfway through, even if you don't have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. These are the ladies. I'm like, talk to your vajayjay. Ask her what she thinks. Talk to your body. Like, is she scrunched up in a permakegel? Is she, or is she relaxed and open? Or
Interesting.
I'm not a gentleman, but like, talk to your balls or whatever. Like, talk to your core, hips, where your
Yeah.
soul rests in your hips, that pre-verbal, because your heart, often, I mean, our hearts are beautiful, but our hearts love everybody. I mean, I love a
Yeah.
sociopath. Like, I can find
Yeah.
compassion for
Ditto.
everybody, right? Right? So it's not always the best meter to judge this. And then the brain, my God, the brain is always going to try to talk you into everything, right? So we don't want to go there first, but go all the way down into your hips. Go to the bathroom, sit on the toilet, and just listen. How does my body feel right now in the presence of this person? Yes, they're rich, they're handsome, beautiful boobs or big bank account, whatever it is. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But go inside and trust thy body, because the body keeps the score, as we know. The body doesn't lie. And then when you're done your date, have a girlfriend or guy friend that will definitely tell the truth, like make you tell the truth, or a counselor, a facilitator like myself. Have a team so that the old patterns dissolve and the new healthy
Mm.
patterns take root, and never give up on love.
I never give up on love. I'm with you. I love how you're talking about being connected to your body. So I too have also struggled with that immensely. And it's ironic because I grew up as a dancer where I have like
Same.
bodily awareness. Did you
No
really?
way.
See? I knew it. So like you have bodily awareness, like I'm
Totally.
coordinated and I
Yep.
know when
Yep.
something hurts or but and yet it's so interesting that when it comes to like love and relationships, I like ignore what my body is telling me. So how do we like I mean besides sitting on the toilet and asking how do we really like tap into getting to know yourself in that way, like your actual physical self in that way?
Yeah, I literally brought on a new client. I had her first session yesterday, and she's super super smart, and she's in her head. And I said, and how did? And she was talking about all this stuff, and I go, right there, right there. I can kind of tell when the tears are about to be right there, or that they get that bit
Yeah.
in the throat. I go, I got you. I love you. I'm not going anywhere.
Mhm.
Let's feel into the throat. What emotion is held there? And then she's like, can't talk. I go, great. And how do you feel about not talking? Because can't talk is not an emotion. She's like,
Right.
scared. I go, perfect. Let's feel that. Let's feel that. And then we just tracked the body. We went down from the throat, then we went down to the heart, then we went down to the gut, then we went down to the vagina. We just tracked her body. We integrated all these suppressed emotions. And what happens is
Wow.
it's kind of like making a new runway that can allow you to just drop into your knowing, drop into your truth. But most of the time, we don't know what to do with these emotions. We push them away, and then we do our shtick. We do our sabotaging behavior. So
Mhm.
that's when I work with people one-on-one, we feel, and as we integrate, truth arises. And then she just spoke to me like Buddha, like all my clients do. Once they're in their body, they're like, you know what? That relationship was never what I wanted. It was my ego getting into that because I wanted people to admire me because I was with them. And she
Interesting.
owned it. And I said, and can we own that without self-judgment? You were doing your best. And she went,
Mm.
oh my God, that's what happened with my best friend in elementary school. And I go, yep, I'm sure it didn't start in this relationship. So we went all the way back there and then we integrated that. And she goes, you know what? Actually, all the way back as a little girl, I'm like, yeah, take me there. And it's just like dominoes. And you integrate
Yeah.
one, integrate the next, and then it's quiet. And then you know your truth.
Let's talk about that blame because often when a relationship doesn't work out, many people, myself included, do take it as a failure, right?
Yeah.
And failure
Yeah.
is very hard to accept. How do you kind of dissolve that mentality, so to speak, so you're not playing that like game with yourself?
Yeah. So there's something called the third dimension and something called the fifth dimension. The third dimension is where everything's about somebody's right, somebody's wrong. Somebody's good, somebody's bad. And it's a no-win life to live that way. So you're always
Yeah.
going to blame yourself or blame them. And so I asked them to lift out of that dimension, that point of view, that way of looking at the very same situation into how can this be like a win for everybody, a win of growth. So, okay, maybe you did give away your power. Can you grab little you, put little you on your lap and say, based on how you were raised, I totally understand why you would do that. You would give away your power and be the victim and they wanted to save you. So let's create a win for you there. Then like let's look at it from their point of view as well. They were using you. They knew damn well they were using you. They liked using
Hmm.
you. That's their wound. We're not going to judge them either, but we're going to show them that they have their responsibility as well. And so when you can start to not judge them or you, sit in the fire, have compassion of why you're doing it. It's like grace. It's like magic. It's like alchemy. As soon as you
Hmm.
stop judging and feel that uncomfortable feeling, wisdom arises. And then you need to put that wisdom into action in your life and start making new choices, have accountability, have a community, have a bunch of people who are willing to be brave and go for it with love and share your wins and share. And I'm not even going to call them failures. They're more when you're off the mark, when you have
Yeah.
lost your way, when you forgot who you were, when you let fear win. That's called being human. And that's brave. And so we want to lean in and grab that part of you and go, good job, you fell down, but we're going to fall forward. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get up and keep falling forward. I got you. I got your back. Like it's a really sweet, tender way of being with yourself, not a
Yeah.
critical, judgmental way of being. Because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall. We all do. It's just who you're going to be about it when it happens. Kindness and compassion and a little humor. And maybe a bag of tortilla chips and a shot of tequila in the bathtub at night.
I was gonna say that. I'm like, possibly a beverage might help as
Yes,
well.
okay, we get to be human in this as well. But again, never give up
Sure.
and fall madly in love with yourself. Let that be your goal.
What do you say to someone who feels like they keep choosing the wrong people?
I say, and this is a conversation for the subconscious, not the conscious, but I say, just let your body answer me right now. What do you love about that? And they're like,
Mm,
nothing. I go, that's your mind. I get that. You don't like the wrong person. But what do you really actually get? What's the hit? What's the payoff? What are you actually getting out of that? And then they might say something like, well, if I actually found someone that was like a great match, and then I was vulnerable and they left me, I think I would die.
mm,
So there's a reason why they're doing it. It's safe on some level. They're getting a hit. They have a reason to blame them. They have a reason to break up with them. They have a reason to move on before it gets too risky, too vulnerable, too transparent. So, there's no good men, or all women are gold diggers. I go, again, what do you love about that statement? To someone that would say, like, the gold digger comment, right? Do you value yourself anything more than your pocketbook, your bank
mm.
account? And then they're like, oh God, no, that's what I lead with. I go, well, that's who you're attracting. But if you valued your heart and your bank account and your dreams, if you valued more of you, this is, again, inside job, you would
Right.
attract a like vibration of someone who appreciated your wealth. But man, oh man, they love the way you make a hamburger. They love watching, like, I don't know, like, there's something you value. You like barbecuing or something, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta fall in love with yourself. That's what I mean by that. Value all of your uniqueness, and then show up vulnerably with, this is who I am, amazing, and this is who I am when I get scared. And be real. And if somebody can't be with that, you don't want to continue dating them, because at some point they're going to judge you for that behavior because they haven't learned to
Right.
love their fearful little guy inside. Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I've encountered that of like when someone can't be honest with themselves, then how can you expect them to be honest with you?
Right. You really want to watch on your first dates, like, how do they treat the waiters? How do they treat when someone cuts them off in traffic? Like, do they
Yeah.
tailgate? Like, just notice these behaviors, because that's how they engage with themselves. That's how
Mm.
they're engaging with life. And eventually that's how they're going to engage with you. I did not learn this until several marriages into life, but
Well, you know what they say, the universe keeps showing you the same lesson until you fully like learn it. And I'm so I get it. Alana, I'm right there with you.
yeah, yeah. And then again, who are we going to be about it when we discover our wobbles is compassionate, right? This idea of like a little you inside, a little kid coming into the room and saying, I'm scared. You're not going to hit them with a 2x4 and shove them in the closet, right? You're going to hold them and hug them and listen to them and validate them and acknowledge them. This is really important inner work with intimacy, is when something goes really wrong, really not the way you expected or desired it to be. Let yourself cry. Let yourself feel your feelings, but don't feel them a little bit, stuff them, and then avoid, because then they're
Yeah.
going to stay stuck inside. You got to feel them all the way home until you really can embody the wisdom of, oh, they betrayed me, but guess where I betrayed myself, right?
Hmm.
These kind of things are found in slowing down, feeling your feelings, talking with a facilitator, really getting the lesson. So you don't repeat that same lesson. You'll get other lessons, but
Right.
you won't get that one.
Because there's still growth, like you said, you're always growing and learning. But yeah, it's nice to not do the same one over again for sure.
Broken record. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What about intimacy, like with your partner, like with a relationship? Because I feel like, I mean, even when I was in relationships, that's also like always a struggle. Like there's always a point where you need to sit down and have that vulnerable conversation. Sometimes it goes one way, often it goes the other, and you're left then feeling more uncertain about things.
Sure, sure. And then you kind of pull back, and then you're
Yes.
so separate that eventually
Yes.
it breaks. Yeah, exactly. I understand. So simple practice, two or three different practices. One, hug for 20 seconds morning and night. There's a bunch of science behind why it's not just a 6-second hug, it's a 20-second hug, but something about regulating your nervous system, being present, through a little discomfort, staying physically connected, and having that
Mm.
as a bookend is very important. Look in each other's eyes if you can. Stand that, like, eye gazing, very, very
It
nerve
sounds
wracking.
so simple, but it's very hard for some people, like
Yeah,
very hard.
very, yeah. So
Yeah,
if you can't be present with yourself and your own emotions, there's no hope in hell you're ever going to be present with your partner. So
for
a
sure.
simple practice, 20 seconds morning and night, do that. Second practice, they're called dyads, DYAD. And I've been practicing this for like 25 years. It's a conversation between two people. You ask the question, like, tell me something you like about me. And they say, I like your eyes. And you say, thank you. You may or may not agree, but it's about listening, not interrupting, sitting in the fire and receiving their communication. And for the speaker, it's so safe because all they're going to say is thank you. No justification, no yelling, no conflict, no fighting. Okay. Well, that's an easy question. Start off with the easy questions. It builds affinity. Tell me something you like about me. And then the next question, tell me something you think we align on. This builds affinity and connection because when you're having a fight, you're on two separate sides, right?
Right.
You know, you're against each other. But this question reminds you, actually, we are on the same page about this, that, and the other. So you do that back and forth. All you get to say is thank you. And you switch back and forth. Do that for about 5 minutes. Then you get to the third question. And this, if you can actually do this and play by the rules and only say thank you, you're not going to have conflict. And you're going to learn a lot. And you want to seek understanding, not seek to be right. Third question. Tell me something you want me to understand that you think I don't fully understand.
That's probably the hardest question.
Well, of course, we had to lead up to it, right?
Yeah.
Most conflicts are because you don't understand me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's you don't appreciate me or you don't care about me but the core of that is that you don't understand my values. You just did something completely out of integrity with the way I choose to live and the way I thought we were in agreement about it. And it's very difficult to hear another's point of view without interrupting when they misunderstand you. But if all you're allowed to say is thank you, you really start to get, wow, that you can start to unravel just in sharing back and forth. Do the last question for a good 20 minutes. So that's a 30-minute practice, okay? Do this once a week. Do this once a week. And when you really get the way your partner wants you to understand them in a way that you clearly don't, and all you get to say is thank you. Wow. Talk about truth being revealed. Talk about being heard and understood, not just who's going to win this argument, right? You take that off the table. Our goal is to understand, not to win. And then after that, you don't talk about it again. You don't use it as ammunition. You're not allowed. And you commit once a week to doing this. So if there has been issues, you know that once a week, you're going to be able to talk about it. You're going to be able to get it off your chest. You're going to be able to be heard. Be kind. Don't say you're a this, that, and the other. It's not going to go very well. Try to think a lot more about I feel. And if you really...
Emotion-based.
Yeah, emotion-based, and try not to blame them for everything in it because who'd want to sit down and do those kind of conversations with you? And if you're really triggered about it, when you did it right, it's very hard to listen and not get defensive when someone's coming at you like that. So you can use the word another. When another didn't text back, right? Okay, better, play by the rules. I felt devastated. I was sure that you were dead in a ditch or with another woman. And I know I'm batshit crazy, but that's what I thought. Right? I hope I'm allowed to swear. I never even asked that before we started.
No, you're allowed. You're good.
Okay. And then when they realize that a simple not texting for 20 minutes made you go through so much pain, the next time, and you're not making them say, so you better text me next time. You're not ultimatuming them. You're not babying them. You're not emasculating them. You're simply revealing your heart that hurts. Then hopefully, if they care, they will begin to move in actions to honor you more. And then hopefully you'll do the same. When they share what really hurt them, you can go, whoa, I didn't think that was like a big deal at all. But to my beloved, it's a big deal. I'm going to work on it.
And if they don't, then that's your sign that they're maybe not for you.
Correct. If they don't care that you're devastated, that's a big red flag.
Red flag. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you so much, Allana, for your time. I feel like I could talk to you all day. For listeners and people watching, please let them know where they can find you, follow you, hear you, all the things.
Thank you. Yeah. So my name is my site, allanapratt.com. If you go /top 5, the number 5 mistakes, there's a complimentary 5-video course about intimacy, the top 5 mistakes that destroy a conscious relationship. So that's totally free. I would love you to go there and learn more. Second, allanapratt.com /connect is how we can have a one-on-one call and talk about working together. And all these people, give them the scholarship code READY NOW, all in capital letters, one word, READY NOW, and it'll give you a nice big scholarship so we can connect one-on-one and talk about it. And in terms of just getting to know me more, Intimate Conversations is my podcast. We're in season 14. 2013. We've been doing it for many, many years. It's
Wow.
awesome. And then also my Instagram is Allana Pratt. My YouTube is Allana Pratt. Allana Pratt, everywhere. Lots of great content, videos, and I answer your questions. And then lastly, I have a Patreon channel that I just started and I'm growing. And it's a place where I just love answering people's questions. It's $11.11 a month. It's very, very like
That's
spiritual numbers.
fantastic. Yeah,
so
I love that.
Very, very inexpensive. And it's a way that you can get your questions asked if you don't want to go all the way and become a client or that type of thing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and your heart and for sharing your stories and experience as well.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was delightful. All my love.